hear him preach. I knew him when he was growing up, you know. Who ever thought Joseph would become an evangelist or anything, but he's preached at our church twice as he's here, and up in Hillsborough he preached Sunday evening, and I don't know where else. I'll be quiet and let you talk.
Okay. This is really great to hear. That's what we're here for.
And Gloria just got baptized.
Oh,
Sunday.
Sunday.
Yeah. Wonderful. Wow.
She loves the Lord.
She's very shy, as you can tell. And I've known her all of her life, and she's still shy with me. Right, Gloria?
That's okay.
It is fine. I think it's better that way.
Yeah.
That's how you develop a meek and quiet spirit.
Yeah, that's what God tells us to be meek. This is the room that he was born in, right here. This room. All these older New England homes would have had a birthing room, and this is it. And this is where he was born, as well as all those 7, 8 brothers.
She doesn't know you've got that many.
Yeah.
So this would have been their dining room, and this picture up here is his grandmother. And the story goes that a man named Jude would stay home in the wintertime and paint hats and shoulders, and in the summer he would knock on doors and he'd say, for $2 can I paint a picture? And he painted this Jude painted the picture of the grandmother. This is her, and she would have lived, her family would have lived on the other side of the river. So it was hard for D.L. Moody to go visit her because you had to pay to get that ferry boat over there. So, and they didn't have much money, so.
Yeah. Swim, huh?
Yeah. And so, the Moodys, when they lived here, they had 3 books. They had devotional, they had catechism, and they had Bible. They did not have all these books. These came from those young teachers. If you open up the pages, you'll see somebody, a teacher's name, or a dean's name or something. So probably when they had Christmas and they got new books, the mother probably said, take them to school and let your friends read them. And they ended up here at this clubhouse. But can you imagine Mrs. Moody sitting here in one of those rocking chairs, the fire going, and she's reading to them? They say she could read. You know, back then everybody didn't read, but they say she could. So she was reading. She wasn't a Christian at the time, but she did teach them values, right from wrong. And later she did become a Christian, but at the time she wasn't. But she read from the Bible, devotional, catechism to the children. So let's go into the next area. And do you want to read? Go ahead. You go ahead. No?
Let's go backwards.
There's plenty of parking down there where they should be, but that's okay. They're just parking wherever they can find a spot. So this room would have been her parlor. This table did belong to Moodys. Probably I shouldn't have stuff on that, huh? The thing of importance is that picture. That's a picture of D.L. Moody. It was commissioned by Cyrus McCormick, and I bet some of you know who he was. Cyrus McCormick? Anybody?
Don't at this point.
Inventor of farm machinery. I'll just say that.
Okay, McCormick, yeah.
Yeah. He commissioned a man to paint that. The man's name was George Peter Alexander Healy, and he painted that picture of Moody about 30 years old. The story goes when Moody was in this pastor out there in Chicago, he was poor, he didn't have much, and one time when he went to one of those many cities to visit, he was going to be gone for a while, there was a carpenter in his congregation, and he said, I'm about to build a new street here, and I'm going to put new houses up, and I'd like to give one to Moody. When he comes back, he can have his house. But you people in the congregation are going to have to furnish it. So he comes back from wherever, and he's got this house. Carpets, beautiful things that he never had before, and over the mantel is this picture of himself. And Emma loved it, but she says it's too still. Now, wherever you stand in here, it looks just like he's looking at you.
Right.
Yeah. This man that painted it was a very famous portrait painter. There's 2 pictures in the White House of Abraham Lincoln that he painted. If you've ever been to Faneuil Hall out in Boston, you go in that hall and there's this huge picture of politicians. I don't know if you've ever seen it. He painted that as a 7-foot picture. There's pictures in the National Art Gallery in Washington, D.C. There's a picture in Worcester Art Museum. He's a very famous portrait painter. So we're really happy to have that. So it's in his house. It's 1871. the Great Chicago Fire, October 1871. Moody's preaching, he's giving the gospel message, and he's telling the people, think about it right now. And somebody comes in, they say, Moody, you've got to evacuate, there's a fire, the city's on fire, you got to. So that changed his ministry. From then on, he never told people to think about it and come back. He said, tonight is the night of salvation. You come tonight and accept the Lord. Don't think about it, don't come back. Think about it tonight and do it tonight. And so that's another big turning point in his life. So everybody had to leave. And I've read in the book that everybody in his church lost their homes. It was huge. It was like our Katrina. It was huge. But he was living on the other side of the town, and he had that nice new house. So he thought he was going to be safe. But in the middle of the night, someone comes knocking at the door. Moody, you've got to evacuate. You've got to get out of here. That fire is coming. And so Emma wanted to keep this picture, but D.L. Moody was probably thinking, there's no way I'm going to travel down the street in a hurry with this crowd with this picture of myself. So somebody cut it out, rolled it up, and gave it to her. And we're able to have that picture that came right out of the Great Chicago Fire home that he had out there. It's a beautiful picture of it. And you might have seen it on a book, the cover of the book. One of the volumes of books has a picture of it. If anybody wants to sit there and get a picture, go for it. It's fine.
You want to sit there and have your pictures taken, Joe? Go ahead. Let Mom take a picture of it.
Yeah. He can get back up from there.
You got to move over, you know.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Close
not
the
like
lens.
that.
Too close.
You
Yeah,
can
yeah, let's
stand back here.
so she can